on time.
What do you mean be on time? What are you talking about? Are we ever on time?
Right. What is time? Oh, this is going to be a fun one. This is
going to get deep, isn't it?
It might get philosophical. I mean,
philosophical.
Is time a thing? I don't know. We'll have to wait for Chris to get back to find out.
Yeah, time's a thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it just a construct of your mind?
No. So, what am I missing? Are we started?
We already solved the problem, Chris.
You have?
Yeah, hey, you went away. We figured it out.
We got to work, and it was really simple, actually.
I'm liking that. I can deal with simple.
Yeah.
What did you figure out?
Everything.
Life, the universe, and everything. It's all 42. Let's be perfectly honest. Why are 22 people waiting? Have we not started?
We started. You got to refresh.
Do?
I mean refresh. What's going on?
Oh yeah, we're live. 12 watching. How come there were 22 waiting and now there's 12 watching? Did we lose everybody?
We took too much time? I don't know.
I think so. Never going to happen.
Time? What do you mean time?
What do I do with this stupid thing? Hang on. I hate technology sometimes. Space-time. Mitnick declined. What's this? Oh, why is she even bothering? All right, I'm not even going to go there. She should.
Mitnick declined? Mitnick declined what?
Rachel's been trying to get Mitnick on a freaking show or something, and she keeps complaining that he declines. I'm like, what the fuck? Never mind. Well, I'm not going there because I don't want to waste time on that individual.
I was listening to Morris Day and The Time before we started our show tonight.
Oh,
yeah, you were.
Nice.
Hey, did you guys check out the Senate testimony yesterday?
I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I have heard some things, but I have not had a chance to sit down and spend the 2 hours and change watching it.
I got cliff notes.
Almost 3 hours.
Good.
Yeah, I got cliff notes.
Yeah, you got to break that shit
about.
Do what?
It's well worth the listen. I had to stop it numerous times because I was getting pissed.
Yeah. That to me is why it is
good.
Listen. It is cliff notes. To me, it's purely cliff notes. It's
What the hell happened to your lights, Chris? You were good, and now you're in the dark again.
I turned the blue down. Hang on a sec. Let me. It's too dark. Hang on. Actually, no, dumbass. Let's do that.
The whiter the front of your beard gets, the more it just becomes like a floating piece of your face.
It's true.
I should know.
Yeah, your beard's looking real nice.
Yikes. Too much white for my taste, but I've been assured that if I dye it, I might as well just kiss shoe polish. I'll get the same look.
It works like Play-Doh. If you just push your head, it pushes out the whiskers.
Oh, is that why I got all the ear hair? Because I've been doing a lot of this.
Yeah, you got to do it on the ears.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just gonna check technique.
I've made it. I'm doing the work with Sempress, and they're releasing. It's actually a pretty freaking cool tool. We need to have a conversation for the red team folks because they've released a tool now that's doing a whole bunch of work with Active Directory, and it's a free tool, totally free tool. And Microsoft's got its own like AD tool that does like 10, 15 searches. This thing's like 30 or 40 searches. Helps you understand what the hell's going on with AD. And they're releasing it and they're calling it Purple Knight. So I'm going to be the one doing some of the championing for it. And one of the requests from the team was, can you do your beard purple again, please? So I'm like, yeah, we'll have fun with that one. And so that'll be kind of cool. So I get to do that in the next week or two.
Purple Knight.
Yeah, it's actually, I got to give them credit for it. It's, the name thing is what the name thing is. But what I love about it is, again, it's again, back to the community thing. This is what I love about it. It's free. No fucking around, no bullshit. And I mean, yes, it's a sales lead. No two ways about it. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But I hand you a tool and they're just giving the tool away and going, look, go figure out what the heck is going on with your Active Directory. Take the time, figure shit out. You can do it yourself. We can keep your hands. I don't care. Just do something about it.
Where can I get this tool?
Sempress. Remind me offline and I will send you, actually, I'll do it here. Sorry, I'll send you the link here. I'll probably get yelled at for it.
Yeah, please do, because I got somebody that could benefit from it like right now.
Yeah. Michelle. There we go. It's actually really cool. I'm actually pretty freaking pleased with it. It's about 6 months in the working. There's some amazing guys, There are some amazing folks over at Sampras that have been building it and just got dug in with them and just been helping. And it's just been really cool to see it come together.
Yeah, I love tools. I love tools and I love free tools, especially when you find the ones that are useful and you can take little bits and chunks of it and, use it for your own stuff.
Exactly. I mean, that's the logic on it, definitely. Is the original idea came about like ages and ages ago because, I mean, they're purely active, no, not purely, they do a shit ton load in the AD side of the world. And they were like, look, there's just so many simple things that people just could do with understanding. So it's like sitting down and going, okay, let's actually see what we can do about it. Let's see if we can actually get people to, to run with it, to work with it and to use it and to actually learn. So it's kind of cool. It's pretty pleased.
I like it.
All right, got it. Hang on, what happened to that? Let me copy the link. All right, I'm putting it out. I'm going to put it out there.
What the hell were we talking about before we started the show? We were on we were talking about some good shit, but I forgot.
Oh shit, it's a safe link. It's I can't post the stupid thing. Fucking, let me just.
We're talking about stuff and things, as we're prone to doing, right?
You
Stuff,
job.
things, such.
You job.
We're talking about Dave. We're talking about
We
Dave
talk about
and
it.
the integration with Security Studio, which is super. I'm super jacked about that.
Looking forward to that. I'm actually totally looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. Now yes, this is going to be badass.
Super badass. It's what everybody's been begging for.
Right, for sure. And yes, I have other things.
We'll talk more later.
Yeah.
Just everybody listening, get excited because the three of us might have cooked something up that's gonna kind of change how the things get done.
Yeah.
We already cooked up some shit too, man. Monday night. That was a
Monday night.
That was a blast. Monday was a blast. We want to talk about that yet, or are we gonna let that cook a little longer?
We can. I found a communications platform, Chris, that
I haven't checked it out yet. You sent me the link. I know I owe you the.
Richie from I think he's online too, but he from the Daily Insanity Check-ins, it's called Geneva Chat. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Here, I'll send you an invite. I set up a home, and it looks like it's got the basic functionality that that we're looking for. So I'll send it to you. See what you think. I'll send it. Ooh, yeah. Here, I'll send it in this chat because we're not ready for those other people yet.
Yeah, keep it internal.
Yeah. We'll talk about content stuff in a minute, which is kind of funny considering, yeah. All right, so I just posted on internally and also on the active link the stuff out. There's a here, welcome to Purple Night Shenanigans thing, so that's out there as well.
Nice, very cool. Thanks, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, totally. It's a thing. It just all we're asking honestly is just give feedback because obviously we're still pre-release, release light. Give 100%. Feedback and have at it.
Well, and the nice thing is with us, it's going to be quality feedback, and not just noise.
Yeah, this is.
Come on.
I mean, I guess I could throw the button's stupid. It doesn't work the way I want it to. I mean, I could give that kind of feedback.
I will find you and I will chase you down with a blunt spork.
Come on, nice. That's good. That's good UAT feedback. Your button is stupid and I don't like it. That's quality feedback.
Blunt spork. You will get blunt spork. Yeah, or it's the wrong color. The button's the wrong shade. I'm gonna beat you at that point in time.
I like it. It's cool.
Compared to Bloodhound, it's the opposite of Bloodhound. It's actually trying to do the right thing. Although Bloodhound's good. Just run the fucking tool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, or read the shed, read the getting started guide. My God, we're not talking about this. We're just putting it out there. Anyway, I better tell the folks over at Sampras I just did this.
Yeah, by the way, I might have said some shit on the show last night. Well, I mean, these things, they happen.
I'm downloading it now.
I already got it. No. Beat you to it.
I already ran it on your Active Directory from here.
Is that why I've been having trouble?
Maybe.
So my favorite quote this week comes from a friend who shall remain nameless. Our Active
Bill,
Directory is
John,
an absolute
Steve,
disaster.
Mike, John.
What? I'm gonna
So the quote is,
thing.
my Active Directory is an absolute disaster. My response sounds like Active Directory.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. And yeah, business is normal then by the sounds of it. Typically the answer is like, have you sacrificed an intern to Active Directory recently? Because if you haven't, you need to go find one.
Yeah, you owe it.
Yeah,
This is
totally.
This is the one that wanted the IAM.
That is correct. There were questions around IAM and the particular leader in charge had an impression of getting IAM done in a very large organization for a dollar level under 200-ish some odd.
And when we were talking about them, when you and I talked about it later, I'm like, you're 12 to 18 months away from even being able to use a damn IAM. Things are such a damn mess. So get your shit together first, figure out your processes first, and then figure out how you're going to use a tool to implement, or I guess manage those processes. But yeah, shit, they're screwed. I mean, not screwed. You got to get the shit straight, right?
They have some challenges.
It takes time. It's fundamental stuff, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Purple
Knight.
Time, that thing that it takes, that thing we pay for.
Who pays for?
Well, you pay for my time. And Chris gets paid for his time, and you get paid for yours.
I am going to get paid for my time. Starting Monday, I get paid for my time. I don't actually have to go beat up on, fight and challenge people. Actually, you know what? We're pretty lucky. Most of the time, everybody pays their bills on time, probably because you don't want to piss off. That is the one good thing about our industry. Don't piss off the hackers.
Yeah, it's generally because I'm gonna get paid. It's just in USD or Bitcoin, your choice.
Yeah. In 12 years of FR Secure, there's only been one customer who didn't pay.
You know what? I had that with Owl, One World Labs, same thing, probably not as long because it was like 09 to 16, 15, 16. And in all that time, the same thing, there was only one customer that didn't pay. We were really fortunate. Yeah, we had a bit of a challenge with one fairly recently that we literally bent over backwards to help them out with and get them sorted out and stuff. And their internal processes got in their way, and they thought that we would go along with how slow their internal processes were, and until we said no. And we said no pretty emphatically. And to their credit, one of their leader folks stepped up and said, "We got you covered and we got you sorted," which was very nice to see.
Yeah, we got screwed because it was a buddy of mine, worked at a big law firm, and they had an incident. And he's like, we need to get going and everything. I'm like, well, all right, man, we got to get the paperwork out of the way. He goes, you can trust me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can trust you. Because I can. I mean, at that point, we were really good friends. And so we got started with an incident response and got pretty far down the road. And they ended up, at the end of the day, stiffing us for about $90,000 and essentially ruined our friendship.
Yeah.
It sucks. Yeah. But I guess it's good I think the sooner you can find out who your true friends are, the better, because if that, his true colors shined through in that instance.
Yeah.
So, you kind of limit the damage that,
This is, it's to us, and I'll name the name because I don't care, because apparently they got a reputation, and it was the jewelers, the Shane & Co. Jewelers company here in town, and had an issue, had a challenge. We came in and bust nuts and same thing, and totally screwed us over. Like totally. I mean, it was one of those where we would have had to go the legal route, and in the end, we're just like, we don't need the brain damage. You guys, it pissed us off. It wasn't a stupid amount of money, but it was just okay. We have
it's principle. I don't care if it's $1.
And that was the same thing with Jen. I mean, this is, and I'm not getting political, this is business, but so Jen's father used to run a couple of airlines, literally used to run a couple of airlines, private airlines. and one of his customers was our now former president, and he got pretty well stiffed by that individual. Like we're talking some serious money, and apparently that was his modus operandi. And it was like, well, you got to use my name, and this is a business lesson for you. And it was just like, I mean, Dave, Dave's one of the nicest freaking people I know on this planet, literally. An amazing mentor. I mean, this is a guy that's in the Experimental Aviator Society, for crying out loud, emeritus chairman of the Smithsonian Air and Space National Institute. That's the kind of person that just, I mean, you're like, you just don't do that to those kind of people. And it's frustrating when you see that kind of level of business practice, but it is what it is.
Well, that's it, man. I mean, you don't do it to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the integrity is like, that's like my top thing.
Yeah.
You just don't fuck with that. Pisses me off. That and cheating. Those are two things that piss me off more than just about anything.
I think my hot button, probably one of my worst hot buttons, is the drink driving side of the world. That, because I've firsthand witnessed it, unfortunately, and I've lost people to it as well, both as a kid and as older. And I've had to go to court for employees that have been stopped doing it, Wisconsin and up in that neck of the woods. And that, the repercussions, unfortunately, on that one are pretty significant, and it sucks. And there's definitely the occasional 1% when it's just like an oh shit extenuating circumstance. But if it's a known thing, especially in built-up areas and stuff like that, I've got more leeway if it's out in the middle of the fucking fields and the only thing you're going to do is wrap yourself around a telegraph pole or end up in a ditch. You know what? Be done with it. No issues on that one. But middle of the town and that kind of stuff, I'm like, come on, we got better ways of dealing with this these days, little buddies.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I have to admit, when I saw, the Tiger Woods thing that happened the beginning of this week, when he went down, I got to be honest, my first reaction was, he's already been nailed twice for under the influence from like prescription drugs and other things. I'm like, oh, good grief.
It's a one-car rollover. So it becomes real easy to start to draw a line there. I had the same reaction. I said, one car rollover, either you were driving too fast, or you were driving too fast while being high. Yeah,
I was a little concerned by that, but it sounds like it was none of those. And they haven't figured out the black box on the speed. It'll be interesting to see on the speed side of things, but it sounds like
was it one of those damn roundabouts that they put in without telling anybody, and you're doing 60 miles an hour and all of a sudden there's a fucking roundabout right in the middle of the way?
No, man.
And by the way, while I'm on that rant for a second, hold on, I gotta rant for a second.
You just jumped that shit.
Fucking roundabouts. And then the ones they put here in town, they decide that the best idea is to plant as much shit in the middle and make it impossible to see what's going on the other side. So it's an absolute gamble when you enter the thing.
Because you and your damn Americans just go straight over the fucking top of them and you lifted F-150s. That's the problem. They haven't figured out a roundabout is actually, there to keep things flowing. Rather
when they first started putting those in around here in Minnesota, where I live, a lot of us are riding, driving big trucks. I got an F-250 and, that's normal. Yeah, a lot of us, and I didn't do it. For the record, anybody listening, I didn't do it, but I saw a lot of people do it. They're just like, hey, fuck this shit. It's like a jump. It's like, no, I don't think that's supposed to be a jump.
No, it's not meant to. But in the UK, they had some of the, they've done some stupid ones. There are some amazing ones. I grew up in a place, I didn't grow up, I guess when father came out of the military and they went separate ways, the last home I had when I was still at home with my mother, there was a place, they had the Magic Roundabout. You just have to look this up on the internet. It's called the Magic Roundabout. And it's fucking hilarious. It's like 5 roundabouts around a roundabout, and it's just brilliant. It's awesome.
That sounds like the shit I got stuck in Germany. The first time I ever drove in Germany, I was stuck in this fucking roundabout for like a half an hour because I was so afraid, because I knew I'd done my homework. I knew that the Germans didn't play games when it came to driving, that they had super strict.
Yeah.
So I'm in this roundabout, and it's the first time I've ever been in a European like multi-lane roundabout, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm just going around and around because it's solid white lines, and so I'm like, I can't change lanes. What do I do? And finally, I just looked around and said, "Fuck it," and like beeline for the exit. But
I love them. I mean, if you know what you're doing on them, they're a godsend. None of this stupid rolling stop violation shit. They're an absolute godsend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right,
Clown shit like that.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll get the good stuff up. Find the hey, while you're driving, just Google Magic Roundabout Swindon.
Can you see my mouse right here?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it works.
You just
Well,
block this shit. These guys can't get out, so everything stops.
That's in a country that still doesn't understand roundabouts.
And over here too, right? You blocked.
Well,
shit,
that's
it's
because
blocked
they're the
everywhere.
country that doesn't understand roundabouts.
I guess they built a big roundabout for not knowing how to use it.
Google the Magic Roundabout in Swindon. That was my favorite one. And you can actually Google the Magic Roundabout, and it was a really good TV series for kids in England in the 70s and 80s. It was all about psychedelic drugs. It was fantastic. I loved
What the hell?
You found the Magic Roundabout.
Yeah, you found it.
So we're not doing a session tonight on time. We're doing a session tonight on roundabouts.
Which you think save time, and I'm going to say are a waste of time.
Oh hell no, no, they save time. Just you and your, I mean, fucking stop signs in this country. I mean, talk about
those are a waste of time too. Nobody uses them.
Talk about wasting fuel. Yep, that's the that's the Magic.
Whoa, yeah.
Yep, I love that place.
The hell?
Right. Now imagine being in some shit like that for the first time ever and afraid to go to jail.
So whenever you do your driving test in like where I had to do my driving test, when I came out, I was doing some stuff in the military and ended up taking some downtime and did my driving test back in the home. This is where they always take you across the Magic Roundabout to do your driving test. Yeah, it's part of your drive. Yeah, a driving test in the UK, nasty. You have to reverse downhill round a bend, parallel park, 3-point turns. I mean, they get nasty. Freaking, I mean,
you should try it. You should. From what I hear, Finland is the kicker.
Oh, what rocket scientist though thought that this is like a good idea? It's what a shitty ass design.
This doesn't look like a rocket scientist. This looks like what happens when you leave a kid alone with chalk in a sidewalk.
It works. It works though. It's flow. It's traffic flow. It works beautifully.
Keep telling yourself that, Chris. That ain't right.
Seriously.
Well, then, so here's where it gets interesting. This does lead into time. If you think about it, there is an argument to say time is linear, but there's also an argument to say that time bifurcates. Time can be dilated, time can be slowed down, time can be sped up, all sorts of things. Same thing with the Magic Roundabout. You've got different traffic coming in from different places. Typically, you can go straight over and done. But let's say this section is bad. So now I can go around this one over here, then around this one, then back around. I can take half a dozen different paths around this roundabout, depending upon what the situation is going on. So if I want to go from here to over here, I can go this way around, which might be faster than trying to get over this side of it. It's perfect. It's great. It has the ability for you to make a decision and for you to become aware.
Now I know why the drunk driving laws are so strict over there.
But listen, wait. He just said, for you to make a decision on where you want to go, and I'm like, yeah, right. in my F-250, fuck all the rest of you. Get the hell out of the way.
Put a plow on the front of that bastard, you're good to go.
Oh yeah, especially the English cars. They're so freaking small. They'll just be batted out of the way without a problem.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, I would like to try it sometime. I'm sure I'd get lost on it.
It's fun. I love the Magic Roundabout. It's one of those ones where I don't know, for whatever reason, it just, every time I go back over to the UK, because Mum lives 15 minutes from that. So I always come off the motorway, the M4. So I go from landing Heathrow, jump on the M4, stop off and pick up a pasty and a cup of tea at the service station, and then just jump back on again and Magic Roundabout straight in to see Mum.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's good
awesome
stuff.
So, you say time can dilate, slow down, and speed up.
Let's talk about time.
Is time even real? Or is it simply a construct of your mind?
It's simply a measure. I mean, if you look at the definition of time, it is what we have applied to the context of movement within the universe, if you think about it.
So I saw that we invented a new period of time, zeptoseconds.
Well, yeah, because we've had to go. I mean, this is it gets really, and this is where it gets
A
really,
trillionth of a billionth of a second?
well, because if you think about it, I mean, you think about the GPS systems that not just that we use, but from a .mil, .gov side of the world, they used to use just the standard atomic clock, and that served our purposes for, you know, whatever the hell it's been for an extended period of literally time. But now they came out with an entirely different set of atomic architectures, different molecular measurements, and various other things. They put this, I can't remember what it was, so they dropped one up in space a couple of years ago now that was doing like, it was, I'm actually looking it up here now, it was for primarily for GPS location techniques and a bunch of other things. It's actually really, really cool. But you know, it's how we have come from measuring time using candles and using lunar cycles and using, you know, Mother Nature cycles to the simple fact that we are measuring it. I mean, we have sliced and diced this down to such an extent, and that's only given for a linear measurement that we obviously know from a quantum architectural standpoint or from a time dilation standpoint or a black hole standpoint. Those rules and regs go out of the freaking window. And from a perception standpoint, where you are standing and how it is measured, and really it's really interesting. I love the
Well,
concept.
but there are some universal truths. So for example, when a human being experiences imminent danger or an oh shit moment, time, the perception of, slows down significantly. And that's a universal truth. Any human you go to and say, hey, have you ever been in a, yeah, and shit slowed down. It happened in 3 seconds, but it felt like 5 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always find that fascinating, right? And we think about that in the context of time management in a crisis.
Yeah.
Right. So as we're doing incident response and shit like that, like, is there a warped perception of time?
And I would say
that we experience because we're at a higher stress level, not quite the full slowdown.
Yeah.
But maybe like a warped perception. And then the flip side of that, just to make it more fun, is, you know, when we're working really hard and the day flies by because we're engaged with what we're doing, we're enjoying it, 10 hours disappeared and I didn't even realize it.
Yep.
And then we have those other days where we're 7 minutes into the first meeting and we're like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it today.
And I love it. And I absolutely love it because time itself is well, not even time. I mean, it's indefinite progress of existence is marching along exactly as it was, but our perception of it, how we deal with it, how we feel it, how we sense it, how we see it, how we experience it individually. Because to your point, you and I could be in the same meeting. You're like, oy vey. And you're clock watching and it's just shit ain't moving it. And you want the fast forward button. And I'm sitting in the meeting going, hey, oh shit, where did that first hour go? It's linear scale, but the perception of it is absolutely, completely diverse. And it's just totally cool. The experiences that we have in it and how we deal with it, how we sense it. And to me, I love it because it does go into the whole digital side of the world and how, you know, we've spent 7,000 years, well, between 4,000 and 6,000 ish years measuring time. And yet we're still really no closer to figuring out kind of what the hell it is. And yet this digital age that we're still trying to figure out how we work with it. And I'm like, guys, you know, if you look at everything else we tried figuring out, it takes a lot longer. It feels like we're almost forcing ourselves to have to understand something rather than just literally going with the flow of it.
Well, and I think it's the complexity. Time used to be simplistic. So let's talk about time for a second in a historical context.
Yeah.
Let's talk about time for a second.
Right.
See how
it was, and a second's never a second. There's another one, right? We say, let's talk about that for a second or a minute. Well, what we mean is 10 minutes or an hour. Yeah. But historic time was based around, to your post earlier on LinkedIn, you know, the moon, the harvest cycles, the seasonals.
Yep.
And the whole point of tracking it had nothing to do with managing your day as much as it did making sure that you planted at the right time so that your species made it to the next, you know, your community survived the winter and got to the next year. And I was doing a little homework on tonight's show, and it turns out that the whole concept of like time zones and time management is actually a relatively newer concept.
Yeah.
And that the majority of humanity got by just fine with sundials and gut feels and almanacs.
Yep.
Until this crazy little invention called the train.
Yeah.
And then I start to unwind that, and I find out that not only did time and time zones and time management essentially come into being because of the train. There were pockets of it other places, but that was the big driver.
Yeah.
It also made a guy incredibly rich, a guy by the last name of Sears. It created an entire empire by which we now have modeled with a new guy called Bezos, but it's the old model. It's the same thing. And it all started with a pocket watch sold to train conductors and station operators.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. And then we place this immense value on managing and controlling this thing we can't create more of. We don't know how much we have of. Each one of us has this magic unknown assigned amount of this mythical thing, time. And we track it and we manage it. It's kind of treated like a commodity. So we get paid for when we trade time at work, right? We solve problems. We trade time to solve problems. We get paid money. But when it comes to treating it as the truly most valuable commodity that it is, I think, and again, to your post, there's a lot of it gets wasted. A lot of it that's non-productive. That's something Evan and I talked about today. Time, right? What does extra time buy you? Well, it may buy you nothing. But if it's applied productively.
And it won't define productive.
Well, and there you go, right? And then there begins the journey into nuance. Generally, for me, productive is something going from a unformed origin into some type of complete fashion. That's how I would describe productive. But
because sometimes productive time is just doing nothing, resting, relaxing.
That's true.
So, because we talk about.
But that produces recharging, right? So that's why it's productive, because there's an output. I think all productive things, there's ultimately some kind of output.
Yeah.
So
maybe. But there's an output. There's an output even in wasting time. I mean, there's still an output.
That's true. That's true.
So
but sometimes wasting time is productive.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is where it gets interesting. And this is where you start getting to the procrastination. And in some ways, I mean, I'm the worst offender at it, but the flip side of that is
I don't know. I think if we were to
I'll give you a run for your money.
Yeah.
I'll give you a run for your money.
There are, yeah, good point. I think we're all pretty well Olympic level procrastinators at times, But for me, it's actually interesting because sometimes it is just that process of, wanting to just kick around on the game for a bit, pick up a book or something, or I go squirreling. I go look at watches or something. And it's good because it is procrastination, but it's also clearing the head, settling the brain down, getting rid of all the stuff that you just don't want to deal with. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I can go back and focus on that task. Now I feel settled enough, clear enough, sorted enough, rested enough, or whatever it might be.
Well, and there's that saying too, right? There's a time for everything.
Yeah. Time and a place.
Yeah.
So
what's interesting about that.
I actually work better procrastinating because I work better under pressure.
Yeah, I was just about to go there. That's exactly what I was going to say. And they've done studies. One of the things that I think the three of us have in common, how many times have we made the best deck ever 6 minutes before the shit was due? I mean, let's just be honest. I'm talking about kick-ass deck, like smashingly good. Like, I made that? And not thinking about it, not worrying about it, literally just sitting there going, I don't have an option right now but to complete this task. And it ends up being solid gold. Dude, but if I build a deck 6 months before I need it, 6 weeks before I need it, I end up with some stinking turd that I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Dude, one time I was on my way, I was doing a keynote, right? It was up all the technical colleges, whatever, in Minnesota thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I could drive there. And I get in my truck, and I'm a little bit early. So I get in my truck, and I already got my deck topic, all that shit. And I'm driving in my truck, and I'm like, I don't like my fucking topic. I don't want to talk about this shit. So I pulled off at a Caribou Coffee, right? ordered my coffee, sat down. I'm like, I'm starting over. I started, blank, and I've got like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then some dude who listens to the Unsecurity podcast, he comes up and goes, Evan? And I'm like, yeah. I listened to everything, so he wants to talk to me. I'm like, fuck. All right. So anyway, long story short, I finished the deck in like 20 minutes. It was all just plain text on like white background.
Yeah.
Right. But killed it. It was fucking awesome. But
Oh,
who does that? On the way.
More
Apparently
people
us.
than you would think.
Yeah, apparently us. You got Chris Payne, Gurkon. You got to ask him the amount of times that he's like, "You ready to go on stage yet?" And I'm literally like, "Give me another minute. I'm just going."
Yeah, just real quick. I just gotta.
Yeah, I'm making a couple of changes.
Right.
Yeah, it's but to your point, we put ourselves into that position where whatever neurons are flying, whatever muse is keeping an eye over us is like, all right. Well, I did it. I mean, last week for the I didn't send it to you guys. I was actually going to run through the deck. I totally forgot to run through the deck.
You did send it to me.
I did send it to you guys.
Yep.
I couldn't put it in. It got used today live for interface F2F conferences. I think they played it today at one of the conferences. There's going to be a couple of others, and yeah, it's a fun one. That was another one of those. I started it. I'd had the thoughts had been kicking around. Started at I don't know 10 or 11 o'clock that night. Finished it at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I gave the recorded keynote 5-6 hours later, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the give to me baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I got it. It's
Yeah.
good. I love it.
Yep.
Thank
Speaking
you.
of time, we spend time dreaming, and I'll tell you guys, I had a dream last week that the three of us were doing a live shit show from DEF CON. The world was normal again. We were at DEF CON. We were doing a live shit show from DEF CON. It was part of the deal, and we were doing a prezo on the Monday thing that we were working on. So I don't know if this is a premonition or if this is a hope or what exactly this dream meant, but I did have that vision, if you will. And we were there talking about the thing, and then while we were there, we did a live show from the conference.
That would actually be a riot. That would be so much fun. You know,
It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, because you'd have the whiskeys and we'd have the power AD things and all the kind of craziest things.
Well, and shit, I lost my thought.
Uh-oh.
Get it? No.
Did I catch it? No, it's not here.
Son of a bitch. It was really smart too. There was so much wisdom that was going to come out.
I'm trying to find that atomic clock that they chucked out into space, 2 years ago, and they extended it.
One other thing I'll throw out. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Evan.
No. Yeah, the thing that we were talking about on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. That's just one thing, because one of the things that comes out of the shit show, I was telling a buddy of mine, who was it? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. We come up with these really flippin' cool ideas, right? We still have to execute on the securing all the water systems.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I've been kicking it around with some people, and I don't know, Chris, have you done anything with it?
Not a huge amount. I've got to be honest.
Okay.
Not a huge amount. And a chance. No. The only thing I did do is Gabrielle and I sat down. He and I kicked around. And actually, no, we haven't done it because that was something else. We did the ransomware one. Haven't done it. We talked about it. He wants me to put something on the chance.
All right. So I'm thinking about handing it off to Oscar, who leads the technical services at FR Secure.
Yeah.
He's going to get a whole bunch of interns and let her rip.
I love it.
I think that's totally cool. Yeah, that's all. Oh, you know what I did? I rewind. I actually talked with the folks I know out in Idaho Falls. I take it back. So I do have a little bit to add to them. So yeah, if he's gonna do some stuff, then let's have a conversation. We'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. But we've come up with some really good ideas in here. I'm super excited about the Gray Matter Society. I think that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
That'll be fun.
That's it could be when I was listening today or to the Senate testimony today, I was just thinking, what the fuck, man? I mean, they're not solving the problem.
No, it's a lot
They're
of
just
this
adding
going on.
more to it, adding more to it.
A lot of this going on. I
So,
was talking to a friend about this one the other day, overseas friend, and he was like, "So you're holding all the big tech companies up, or most of them, the ones that actually want to turn up in front of these people. What are you actually going to solve?" I'm like, "Nothing much. It's theater." The Senate
it really is.
actually wants answers, and to give them credit, they want answers. They want to know how this can happen, why this could happen. And again, here's my frustration: if everybody actually stood up and gave honest answers, I know, rather than couched, I'm in front of the Senate, in front of the TV, unless you just stood up and said, "Hey, shit happens. We did everything we thought we could, where we thought we could. We didn't have all of our ducks in a row. It's fucking reality. Shit happens."
Well, did you see what Microsoft's president said? Came out, said that if it wasn't for the bravery and boldness of FireEye, we'd have no flipping clue this even happened.
Yeah,
I thought that was really good to see him do that, because that at least that, or they're getting ready to drop a major breach and he's doing damage control up front.
Hey, that's source
but
code.
to that point, I've heard the same thing. I've heard well, thank God the Russians made a mistake. No, this was fucking intentional.
Yeah.
So FireEye they were supposed to see it. They were supposed to react to it. This was all planned.
Yep.
And that's one of the things
you're not that deep in the system that long and accidentally fucking get found. That's not how it works.
Well, and George Kurtz, you know him, right?
Yeah.
CrowdStrike.
Yep.
So he gets up, or not up. He came remotely, right? And the first, you get 4 minutes, and the first 2.5 minutes is how great he is, how great CrowdStrike is, and their top 6 things, and 4 of the top 6 would require their tools, of course. And it's like, seriously, this isn't a sales pitch,
right?
Well, sure it is. That's the greatest sales pitch you can make. One of them two people sit on the budget committee. Come on.
Well,
yeah, I get what you're saying. It's, and that's why the society is so important, I think, because somebody needs to be able to give the prescription. And we've talked about that need for the prescription.
And if you do watch it, keep this in mind. Just think about this. Think victim shaming. Because as I'm watching it and listening, you've got these 4 big tech guys, and I'm feeling like they're blaming others.
Yeah.
Right. So then I go, who's the root of the problem? They created this shit. Right. The shit that we find ourselves in, they made billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars on this shit. Right. By selling us shit. Right. So, fuck it, man, I'm going to get off on a tangent. I don't want to go there, but
don't waste your time on it.
Well, I was going to send an email, not that it would matter, or maybe a letter to members of that committee, and to say, hey, I hope you're going to get other perspectives before you start drafting policy. Because if you're going to draft policy based on what was said in that committee, we're fucked.
Well, that's why the whole gray matter thing to me means a lot, because at some point it will have enough weight that it can carry that message effectively. And that's kind of what I look forward to on this one is
well, hopefully it'll have members that are lobbyists.
Yeah. I get it.
I mean, you got to play their. I know. Just get it out of your mouth now. It tastes bad. I know.
Yeah, I know. No, that's to your hell shit. Well, no, all their personal email addresses, work email addresses. We just send them emails to pages, phones. You did that the other day. This Camping World shit. I'm sitting there and somebody hit me up and they're like, so what are you gonna do? I'm like, well, I could make the lights blink in their offices. I could turn all the electricity off. I could disable all their systems. I can send messages to every member of the damn board in the company. I said, but for the minute, we'll play the nice way, and then we'll go from there.
Right. Well, as long as you play by the core values and play by the mission.
Yeah.
I don't care. I think the only thing I had in there that were sort of banned were marketing and sales positions, but we'll move that. We'll probably take that out. You work in marketing, you can't be part of it, but no.
Oh dear.
No, we need them there so we can teach them the way.
Right.
We need to
Yeah.
have there needs to be some kind of, I don't know. Let
But
me
you know,
hear it
it's
all
so this is, I'm going to segue this for a second back to the topic.
now. Cool.
We have chosen to invest this most precious commodity of time into something that we think has value and benefit to others, because that's how we, as the three of us, enjoy spending some of our time.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
And you know, when we talk about, you know, work, and we talk about, you know, you think about your colleagues, you think about all this time that goes into this thing called work. And for us, that's information security, right? And all the time above the time that goes into it, right? All the long hours we've pulled throughout our careers, all the, you know, days. I know my record was 4 days no sleep. Didn't leave the cubicle.
Yeah.
Right. And anyone that's been in this game long enough has that story, right? We've all had that hell that we lived through, that time we invested, and we did so to benefit. But what I wonder sometimes, and you've wondered this out loud, Chris, and Evan, you have to a certain degree as well. We put a lot of time into fixing this stuff, and prior to the, you know, inception of gray matter, what are we, 25 years we've been chipping away at the same block, and we, you know, we put all this time in. We put in 2+ decades of time.
Yeah.
Have we really made a dent? And what I was thinking about tonight was, that's because the other people haven't given up their time yet, right? They need to put in some time to learn the good behaviors and habits. They need to invest that time, because that's what we're asking these people when we're doing awareness training. Give me your time. Give me this commodity. And they don't feel the value in return for that investment. So now they feel like their time's been stolen because they were forced by their employer to sit through this freaking slide deck.
As opposed to doing something more engaging, more adaptive, more useful. And
yep.
Yeah, no, I get it. That makes sense. And especially, you know, and to your point, I think a lot of us, I think a lot of humans, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of humans want to see change. So if I'm going to invest time in something, I want to invest that time in something where I can either affect change, see change, be part of change. I can see change happening.
Well, and how often do people just feel like completely powerless? Like nobody listens. I have no voice. Why does it matter? You know, I hear that so often where it's like, yeah, well, what's the use? I can't affect change. I can't make a difference.
Every 4 years. When you think about it, doesn't matter who you are, what side you're on. So many people feel like they are powerless.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so, and then even between those 4 years, it's like, shit, you know, I have trouble holding people accountable for the things that I elected them to do. I have, you know, you just feel powerless. Like with security, you read about the breaches all the time. SolarWinds. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You know, take your software and shut up. I mean, that's almost what it feels like some days, you know, because that's not the only attack vector, right? What about attacking libraries? You know, the software isn't written all in one spot anymore. You're calling libraries all over the place.
And they already have. I mean, let's be honest. 3 years from now, somebody will do a documentary after we heard about what happened to Docker, and after we heard about what happened to Oracle's Java libraries, and after we hear about what happens to Microsoft's libraries, and after, I promise you, I'm making a prediction today. What is it? February 25th, 2021. 3 years from today, and I may have to make the damn documentary, but 3 years from today, there will be a documentary that comes out that says, here's how bad this really was and how deep it went, up to the part where it hits the classified wall, and then you just don't get to know that part. But this is deeper than one software. That one software was used to gain command and control over how many networks, and then get into how many source code repositories. Microsoft has already admitted that their source code repo. I expect the firewall company that starts with an F and ends with a net to be disclosing something soon based on something that I personally stumbled across with a client.
Yeah, I'm working on something.
There was a magic firmware update that came out that doesn't include the thing that we brought to their attention, but boy, wasn't that timing convenient.
Yeah. So that reminds me, I haven't seen the stuff that couple of the things we were working on. But
So I think as far as that, the hits keep rolling, and and unfortunately, the zero trust, which I have no time for, I have no time for the current push for zero trust the way they're pushing for it, because it's not zero trust. It's buy my box.
yeah, there we
It's
go.
not change your process. It's not change your approach to the problem. It's plug it in, pay me a license fee, and now you're zero trust.
It's funny. Look up the definition of zero trust.
It's old as time. It's old as
I mean,
time. Zero
no,
trust is
no,
how we
no,
started
dude.
with computers.
Dude, no, I mean, Google.
Oh,
what
the
is zero trust.
definition? Okay, hold on.
Google, what is zero trust?
All right.
Because
Let's see.
people
Let's
talk
see
about
the
that shit
Google.
people talk about that shit all the time. And so I'm like, okay, what is that?
Splunk.com is the answer to what is zero trust.
Oh,
Well,
shit, seriously?
And look at CrowdStrike's definition.
That doesn't even come up in my results. I get
really?
Splunk and Cloudflare and Ping.
Well, see,
Citrix.
they lost their top spot. Then they must not be paying enough for their
CloudStrike's on here, but they're down towards they're below
That's what I'm saying.
Palo.
CrowdStrike. Yeah.
Speaking of CloudStrike, I mean, it's kind of ironic that they're sitting there in front of the hearing committee saying how wonderful they are. Yet, if you go ask a particular artificial intelligence company that, how should we say, refutes vendors' claims on a very regular basis, how they feel about their particular organization is.
Microsoft's got a good definition for it, though.
They do?
Yeah, it opens with it assumes breach.
Maybe.
I always assume breach. If it's been on the internet, I assume it's been breached.
But the problem is all the marketing and propaganda that goes against it, and it's, again, back to time. How much time and effort have we spent defending a position that we know is wrong? How much of that time and effort could we have spent going, hey, shit's going to happen. Here's how we will help you. Here's how we will do what we can. When shit happens, here's how we'll turn up, and this is what we're going to do the best we can. I mean, why don't we spend time doing that? I don't know, time.
Well, because somebody is getting money for time, right? At some point, somebody's making money investing that time. They wouldn't spend money on that marketing material if it didn't return dollars.
It didn't return, I know.
Well,
That's a universal truth of business, right? If you spend money on things that don't return investment, you soon cease to be a business.
Yeah, big time. Time.
I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, the time thing's interesting. It's kind of why I wanted to go through it to see. I can't remember what triggered it. I don't know if it was a conversation that we were having.
Who knows? There's so much. The last couple of weeks have just been awesome, but there's just so much we're doing and stuff going on. You know what I find interesting about time, and we should, I'm going to say it so I don't forget it, but bring it up again when Evan comes back. The importance we place on time in our industry from how we figure out what the hell actually happened. Because I promise, I start playing with your time clock and your logs, you have no clue any longer what the sequence or series of events were.
Well, that's from a forensic standpoint. I mean, that's one of the biggest nightmares is like, okay, how do I know what I'm looking at is correct?
Mm-hmm. And do I trust the timestamp? Is that actually reflective of the global calendar time at that moment, or was that a local setting?
Yeah, and how do I cross-reference it, and how many computers do I have to deal with? And
think about all the detection tools and their dependency on time for doing any correlation or escalation.
Well, that's the crazy thing. I mean, you and I mean, all of us, and probably a bunch of the folks that are on here, we go back to the day when it was a 3-tier architecture. It was a web server, an application server, and a database. And you literally had to correlate. It's like, okay, shit just happened. Let me get the firewall, let me get the network, and let me get that. So I got 5 things to correlate. I do my adjustments. Okay, now I know where 0 is. Now I can go from 0, I can step forward, I can step back in time and understand what my offsets are in my 4 or 5 architectures I'm looking at. Nowadays, with the forensics and the amount of layers and the controls and the Dockers and the cloud and the logistics, and all of a sudden, this is why like NTP and atomic clocks are great, as long as things are looking at them, and as long as things are pointing at them, and as long as we're all looking at the same thing, and as long as and then we go back to what you just said, with this is the immutable evidence.
Right.
How do I know what I'm looking at? You haven't screwed around with on your way out of the front door. Yeah, time has become so critical in our industry. I mean, aside from, speed of cable, speed of networks, all of the third party stuff, in time, near real time, I mean, all these things.
And who actually, hold on, you just triggered a thought. Who actually need, the only people I can think of that need actual real-time data work in life-saving or life-protecting capacities. I have yet to meet real, and I mean true. I don't mean near real time. I don't mean refreshed every 90 seconds. I mean instantaneous real time. I have not yet met a use case for that outside of a very narrow band.
All right, I got one for you, and I know it because I had to help build it. When we were looking at the financial markets.
Okay. That would fit my definition of needing
huge. The microsecond transactional, the amount of transactions I can make from an exact moment that you make something to the moment it actually reflects on the market, the ability to intercept that signal. So if I know who you are and I know the market, the ability to take that signal and do micro transactions between you doing that and that, even if I've only got a quarter of a second or a half a second, I can exact dozens, tens, hundreds of transactions in that time, literally. Yeah, that's a valid use case. Totally.
I know from my previous life, being a BI guy, I remember when real-time data became a thing and everybody's, we gotta have it. And I'm like, you don't want it. you don't want it. You don't want to pay for it. You have no idea what you're asking for.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any idea what a real-time infrastructure looks like versus 30 seconds ago? It's a completely different infrastructure. So
it's like the 5 nines thing. It's the same thing with like when we talk about uptime. The cost of putting like a UPS under my desk to get 2 nines or 3 nines, not a problem. I want to get 4 nines out of it. Well, now I've got to have a gen set outside. I want that extra part of a 9. I got to have 2 gen sets, separate power supplies, separate architecture, redundant battery supplies, redundant power runs, and all of a sudden you've gone from holy shit to like, yeah, gods, we don't have a checkbook big enough.
Right.
And that's a really interesting one. So okay, we talk about time. There's another immutable necessity of time is our friend over in the blockchain and the cipher world. The ability to crack, build, and transact effectively and know your part of the chain transacts before yours does, before anybody else's does. That's actually another really, really big one. And then we start talking about, now you're getting into logging, monitoring transactions, and then even more so, depending upon what currency you're working on, are you working on across 1,000 servers, at which point I can't influence it? Or are you working on 10 servers between friends, at which point I take over 5 of them and I with you from now until eternity, because I own your ledger, because I can now affect change very, very quickly. Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff when you get down to it that way. Sorry.
Well, and I think too, when we start getting deeper into the idea behind quantum entanglement, I suspect we will quickly start to uncover new understandings of the way time and space are interacting, and therefore our foundational understanding of time itself will be up for evolution and debate.
So this is where the math this is where I love theoretical mathematics at this point in time, because it's fantastic, because we are having to do calculations at a network layer at speed faster than time, at speeds and calculations faster than the speed of time, the speed of light. Sorry, speed of time. An interesting one.
Well, funny how those two tend to go together in math equations.
Oh yeah.
What's my constant for measuring time again? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oops. Guess what? It's about to go through the ringer. No, I love that. That's part of the reason I wanted to bring this one up. Because again, okay, so go back to your railroad analogy again. I'm the watch geek here as well. If you take the railroad, we were talking about the railroad watches. So the railroad watches are really interesting because we had railroad watches. We also, at one point in time, had railroad watches with 50, in the US alone, with 50 plus different time zones.
Yep.
Unfortunately, late 1800s, nasty set of accidents, actually really nasty set of accidents, lots of loss of life. At which point the railroad said, look, we need to adopt standardized time. So they went that route. Then, unfortunately, after another couple of nasty accidents, they realized that your clock, my clock, and Evan's clocks were all running different time. Even if it was only offset by a couple of minutes or 5 or 10 minutes, we didn't we standardized. This comes back to where you were, we standardized, we know what the day is, we know what the hour is, now we know what the minute is, now we have to know what the second is. So that's where Ball, so again, US, huge, well, it wasn't at the time, so a watchmaker, Ball, came into it. Webster Ball came in and said, okay, now what I can do, and he took over literally the railroad's time. He would go around and you would get a certified chronometer. Your watch was certified that it had to hold time, horizontal plane, vertical plane, offset planes, all sorts of other ones. It had to hold time within a certain amount of seconds per day. It had to pass all these certain tests, certain amount of joules and everything else. And they would trade these watches in that. He'd take it back and he'd go back and you get another one. And across the US, it was absolutely amazing. They made an amazing name for themselves. And Ball watches are now really, they're still really cool. They've got some really interesting, innovative things. But that was late 1800s, I want to say early 1900s, something like that. But they've put a whole set of like certifications in place for their watches that had to withstand all sorts of things. And at which point now, to your point, your railroad system ran time. And it was actually really, really interesting.
Well, and it drove that change.
Yes.
Nationally. It evolved us into that next level of time management. The average American gave 2 shits less, for all intents and purposes, about time management in the way that we do it today.
But, and to Tim's point, and I was actually just going to make this, and I just read Tim's message. You know what drove that change?
Well,
killing people.
Yeah, I know. It makes you happy.
It makes me really happy. Because seriously, kill more people, eat dead people. Seriously, make more. Stop eating cows, stop eating chickens, eat people. Late for a meeting, 5 minutes late for a meeting, you're done. You are the snack. Congratulations. Lay down on the table.
All right.
Yeah, it's really again, I hate to say it, and Tim's right. It was actually funny. I was just going to talk about that, and Tim pops up and bless his little console sock. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to kill more people in this show, aren't we?" And I think again, we're going to run into that, unfortunately. With how we are and where we are. It'll be interesting. Anyway, yeah.
Well, absolutely. But logic would tell you that.
Yeah.
Reason would tell you that. When you watch the shit, so you talk about time. Over time, if you look at the chasm is widened between what we do with technology and our ability to secure it. It's going faster.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you listen, you keep going back to the Senate hearing, but
yeah,
you listen to that shit and it's like, that's not going to solve the problem. It's
right.
just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. And what's the result? People will die.
Oh yeah, totally. No two ways about it.
Everything is fucking connected now. Your cars are connected. Your pacemaker's connected. Your insulin pump is connected. The MRI machine is connected. Everything's fucking connected.
Yeah.
Well, and it just came out the iPhone 12. Don't have a pacemaker and buy an iPhone 12. Bad things will happen to you.
Yeah.
And that's just from the freaking NFC magnets. That's not even an exploit. That's just a shite design, to quote Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops. Somebody didn't see that use case, did they?
You see the people walk around the damn thing in their chest pocket. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, you might be covering over your heart in case you get the bullet through the heart, but it's going to kill you before they get that anyway. So yeah, good luck on that one.
Well,
And it's
and
going to have to be, and it's going to have to be a significant loss of life if you really want to change and get to the root of it. Because if it's a small loss of life, I can still point fingers. If you really want to go to where the root of all this shit is, on that shit, it's accountability.
oh, yeah.
You make software, you make systems, you make shit that kills people.
So I will give it again. Okay, another one. Perfect fucking example. Okay, so last year, Boeing, and I'm going to use names, sorry if there is, Boeing had a couple of accidents with their aeroplanes. And we're not talking the MAX. We're talking the 777s with the Pratt & Whitney engines. Had a couple of problems. No, it's okay. Well, everything's fine. Keep on trucking. What happens this week, 5, maybe 10 miles from the house, 5 miles from the house? Fucking 777 takes off and starts dropping bits of its engine because one of the hollow fan blades decided it had enough of life and decides to commit Harry Carey in midair.
I was shocked at the
What
cell
does
phone
Boeing then
video.
do? Oh, oops, I'm sorry, we've had another problem. Yeah, we should probably ground them for a little bit, but they're perfectly safe. Everything's fine.
Oh, I know. That poor person, I don't know how they held a steady hand filming the engine on fire from their seat. They were sitting at the. How is this video steady?
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you see? So a good friend, I don't remember who it was. I'd have to look back in my messages. I got a message from a good friend going, yeah, I had that house up until like a couple of years ago. And
No, the one where the cowl dropped in the yard.
Took out the car and then rolled in front of the door. And I mean, and okay, now time, perfect example. Actually, this is a really good one. This actually runs into this. Did you see there were a couple of other people who, I mean, talk about near misses because the bits came through the roof and it was like where they were stood a second or 2 seconds ago.
Yep.
Have you seen the German version or just the German movie, Run Lola Run?
I want to say Run Lola Run.
Run Lola Run.
Yeah. Yep. It's been years, but yeah, I've seen it.
I don't have time to watch movies, Chris.
You need to make time.
Exactly. It's a really, really interesting movie, and you literally see from the perspective of the protagonist. There's 2 main characters, and there's like 4 or 5 ancillary ones that come in and out. But it's the one main character who moves through a storyline, and that storyline is replayed, I want to say 4 times, 3 or 4 or 5 times. And when you start off with a storyline, you follow it through once and you see what happens. The next time that storyline runs, when they open the door, somebody's decision, they're in the way. So it slows them down by 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds. And they run out. And because they've run out, something else changes. And all of a sudden, that whole trousers of time, bifurcation of time, the net end result is completely different. And because of different interaction beforehand, and so what you end up with is you end up with looking through time through a perspective of different sets of eyes and different interactions. And we suddenly realized, I mean, it's crazy when we start taking a look at the chaos mathematics and how we interact with each other and how we influence each other. When you look at the airplane thing, you suddenly go, look, that engine let go at, let's just say 2:30 in the afternoon at 33 seconds and 5.5 milliseconds. If that engine had let go at 2:33 and 6 milliseconds, that part of the engine that fell through the roof, that flew through the air, that was affected by the cloud, that was affected by the rooftop, would have actually clouded the person, they'd be dead. And all of a sudden you realize that your life gets influenced by nothing more than milliseconds. Mm-hmm. And each decision that we move along a certain timeline influences us. And so you go, okay, is there a bifurcation? Do we have the multiverse theory where each major decision we made brings about a different influence? Are we all the same person in a single universe and we're interacting because we're experiencing different expressions, yada, yada. I fucking love this shit. So anyway, that's another.
Well, did you see that at least for a short period of time, NASA had discovered a parallel universe in which time runs backwards?
Yes.
No.
Now,
I didn't hear about that.
Now that's been debunked and or redacted. These days, I can't tell the difference.
It's a fucking conspiracy theory.
I'm just saying I can't tell the difference anymore between debunked and redacted.
I would.
They look the same.
Yeah, I go with redacted because in theory, it's again theoretical mathematics. If you look at theoretical mathematics with parallel universe architectures, you can actually make a case for that occurring. No two ways about it. And it gets used, again, back to the quantum side of the world. We start fucking around with that stuff, and it's really interesting. Because again, we don't know, we know what a black hole does. We know its architecture, we know how it works. We know it from a point of theoretical viewpoint. We haven't been able to walk up to one and fucking poke it.
We're working on it.
We are not fast enough, though. Seriously, this goes back to my desire to sit inside an AS400 in New Zealand when I finally pop my cogs. Because I either want to come back, we're gonna have a conversation about that one day. I either want to come back and see what shit's going on, and I wouldn't mind missing the first part of my life and just come back and hanging around this time, or I need to be hanging out in the digital sense, which is why I'm building what I'm building.
Microsoft patented, didn't they patent the talking to dead people?
I believe they did, didn't they? I believe it was Microsoft.
Was it one of you brothers sent it to me or something? Somebody sent it to me.
Yeah, one of us did.
Yeah, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
It's a thing now, which means, and you know damn well if they're patenting it, that somebody's somewhat close to it.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't build a secure fucking server or operating system or office application.
That has to be a meme. You have to make that meme.
All right, I will make that.
You've got to make that meme. You can't secure your fucking server, but you can talk to dead people.
I mean, seriously.
Please, that's got to be a meme. Give those two. Make this has to be a meme. Like now. How about now? Can I have it now?
I'm working on it. Give me a second.
Now. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're chatbots that talk to dead people. Here's the.
Oh my god, that is fantastic. That is awesome.
It's just insanity, man.
Well, I mean, I guess you're taking the mysticism. I mean, actually, what would be hilarious would be to have like the mystic Meg on. We need all the soothsayers to come out of the woodwork and explain why they have to talk to dead people and Microsoft can't talk to dead people.
I mean, won't that be fun to hack?
Oh, I can't wait. That's going to be a hoot.
I mean, what a great social engineering tool, right?
That's gonna be awesome. Actually, you want to know
why did you just drain your bank account and send it to Nigeria? Well, because Uncle Ron, who died last year, told me to. Really?
Oh,
it's true. It happened.
This is going to. This is so.
I don't know.
All right, crazy. I made the damn thing. Now I can't get the damn thing to display. Hold on.
So, Chris, you can come back as a Microsoft chatbot.
Could you imagine? I already told my daughter I'm going to haunt her. I said it's as simple as that. When I'm in my digital self, she's like, "Don't you dare!" She's like, "I will find that server and I will burn it to the ground." I'm like, "Oh, I will be replicated."
Yeah.
I'm like 3 o'clock in the morning when the microwave starts talking to you. She just looked at me. She's like, "I will shoot it."
I will shoot it. I will unplug everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I love it.
I don't know. There's some days though, man. I mean, that's why it feels so good when you do just unplug.
Yes.
When you do just take a look around the world around you, the beauty, the trees, the birds, the animals. Love it.
Make that art so perfect.
Yeah, tweet the shit out of that.
That's got to get tweeted. Can we make a post? Can I do a link? Can we do a LinkedIn post?
I'll email you the original. How's that sound?
Oh, you're awesome. Would you mind if I do a link? Do you want to do
Go for it. I don't care. No, less is more when it comes to that shit. You do it.
That's got to be a LinkedIn post tomorrow. That will be tomorrow's LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful stress relief. Oh, well, just beautiful.
Fucking Microsoft.
God, I love this team. I love it. I love you guys. This is so much fun.
Or what's next? Adobe's going to create a Flash version of it.
Oh God, don't even go there.
Probably. Well, I mean, it's interesting. I remember years ago. Do you remember when the Final Fantasy series started to come out? There was a ton of controversy at the time because they actually had to. If I remember rightly, somebody could correct me. If I remember rightly, they said something like they literally had to detune the graphics architecture because the people looked too realistic.
Mm.
And that we're going back a long time on that one. Now you fast forward to today. So now we take deadbot, we take humans. I mean, I remember there's been a whole bunch of chatter this last week on LinkedIn about the facial changes you can do and your voice changes and how it's literally becoming an app. So, I mean, the amount of potential fraud coming out of the impersonation side is going to be just.
So pair it with this data set, and you should find this data set. I know you can do it. You find that data set. The shit people are telling this thing is ridiculous. You want to build a personality profile on somebody?
Yeah.
You mine
I've
this
seen
data.
this.
Yeah.
It is, and it's scary good. Scary, and I mean good in a good way, but it's awful.
It's funny, you go to this site, right? And it's like the website used cookies, and you got to approve the cookie fucking thing. It's like, does anybody read that shit?
Oh, no, yes. In the Cloutier house. Matter of fact, my wife says, I want to make an app for women's sexual health stuff. How would I go about doing that? So I was like, well, why don't we look at some codeless solutions? Something, what you want is really simple. I think we could probably self-serve this. And then she, because she lives with me, came to me and said, okay, but do I get to keep my intellectual property? And I'm like, print the terms of service. And I read the entire TOS.
Yeah, we don't knowingly collect. Oh.
Knowingly.
Yeah.
Unknowingly, we collect everything you've ever said ever.
Yes, we use an external service to personalized emails so that we can address you on personalized emails. So you got my first name, you got my email, you got my email, you have my phone number because you want to SMS me. You don't collect on my hobbies. Okay, so external service for voice to text recognition, great. So you obviously have my voice printing. Object recognition, that's splendid. So that's great. Oh, good. Visualize, identify, and de-identify usage data. That's splendid. I love this. We need Artie. Artie's done some really cool stuff with freaking data in motion, like all sorts of interesting encryption stuff. We need that stuff. Yeah, this is scary.
Good section 2.1 and 2.2 and 2.3. So this is the branch. This is the branching shit too. That's like you're gonna tell you got to branch this out and then branch it out again and then branch it out again.
Facebook, yay, Facebook.
Oh, always.
Oh, Microsoft
always Facebook.
And Amazon and Facebook, Infoblit, Mailchimp, Google Analytics, Firebase. Wait, vague. Branch, Amplitude. Oh, I know who runs those ones. That's not good at all.
And it's funny. Section 6, your data protection rights. They could have saved all that text and said, you have none.
Yeah, no shit.
You have a right to be informed for disclosure. By law, I have to say these following things.
Oh, good. So they only retain for the data for as long as necessary. That's nice.
Necessary.
Yeah, necessary.
For whose purpose?
Oh, you know, shit, exactly.
They just need to put an infinity sign for retention period.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what's interesting, how to delete your data. That's not deleting data, that's deleting your account. There's a big difference between deleting data and deleting an account.
Well, you can delete all your account information. See, it's very specifically clear there, Chris. You can delete all of your account information.
Here's what I love. This is what I always love. We can reserve the right to change the policy at any time from now and whenever we want. Because we want. End of discussion. Have a nice day. Love, hugs, and kisses.
And without notification, right? I mean,
yeah, you don't get notified. It's up to you to get your hairy ass out here and do a diff on the page.
Yeah.
It says it was changed the date above. Oh, there we go. Okay, Tony. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see when that gets. All right, so I'll stop scaring for a minute. He says somehow. There we
go. So Nick in the chat brings up an interesting point. What is a reasonable amount of time?
Oh,
wait a second. Who's Nick?
Nick is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
Say hi to Nick, guys.
Hi, Nick.
A friend of yours is a friend of mine. But I'm not just going to answer anybody's question. I don't answer just any fool.
I mean, it is interesting.
Right? So Nick is.
Because I mean,
right, so anyway, next question. Sorry. No, I know. What's next question?
So
Sorry,
what is when we, this comes up all the time. We live under this thing called reasonable amount of time, right? We need to notify within a reasonable amount of time. We need to take, we can debate the word reasonable on another show, but what is in a breach scenario, in a disclosure scenario, what is a reasonable amount of time? And is there a singular, or is it one of these lovely, it's super interpretive, it depends, what if, and just in case, and these 10 caveats?
You want me to give you the definition?
What do you think it is?
Reasonable time refers to the amount of time that is fairly required to do whatever it is required to be done, conveniently under permitted circumstances. In contracts, reasonable time refers to the time needed to do what a contract requires to be done based on subjective circumstances, i.e., we own your ass forever. Because
Right?
we
It's
need
like
to
this.
do metrics, we need to run analytics, and when you die, we're going to actually hook up with the dead bot, and we got you covered, no problem at all. Yeah, so we own your ass forever. That's a reasonable amount of time.
I mean, that seems to be the guiding principle everyone's using.
So there are your rights.
Oh, somebody's taken up my dead person bot challenge. Yay. I just want a dead bot. Can we call it dead bot?
Oh yeah.
Is there actually
I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, can we call it? Is there a website called Deadbot?
Careful with the Googling.
Looking now.
You don't know what you might stumble across.
That is a good point. Yeah,
Ooh, it's a pro intelligence rock.
It's
It's a pro intelligence rock band based out of Denton, Texas.
that Deadbot, but hang on, is that Deadbot?
I knew it sounded like a good band name.
Right?
Can I have a Deadbot? So Deadbot.co is available. I can have Deadbot.org. Deadbot.live. Deadbot.live.
It is a breedable cyber necro mutant.
Ooh, I want Deadbot.
According to my search results, which brought up a Google, whatever the hell those ones are, the featured results.
No. Deadbot.me. I could have, oh my God, we could have our own Deadbots. We could have a Chris.deadbot.me. We could have an Evan.deadbot. Holy shit, that's mine. Fuck it. $8.
I already registered it. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I totally did not do that.
I don't care. Let's face it, it's not exactly as if we don't know each other. We got Deadbot.
True. Very true. Oh boy.
I can start my website for free. I don't need to do that just yet, but I will do at some point. We've got Deadbot. Oh, sweet. Continue to cart. All right, we have purchased Deadbot.me.
Love it.
How did that get so expensive? Oh, domain privacy. Oh, fucking stuff is expensive. Oh, I want 5 years, you numpty. I want 2 years for now. That works. All right, we got Deadbot.me.
It happened.
It just happened.
So that's great. We can do subdomains. I'm going to get a message from Jen tomorrow going, why have I just used the corporate credit card to buy Deadbot?
You know, I was at Black Hat, I don't know, 2000, I don't know what year this one was, but it was 2016 or something.
Yeah.
I think it was when Clinton was going against Trump, right? And our CFO at the time is a conservative guy, right? Conservative. And the Clinton camp was having like a get together policy thing where they're going to talk about what their policies are going to be for cybersecurity and all this shit, you know. But the only way you could attend was to make a $50 donation or more.
Huh.
Right. And so I was like, well, I want to go find out, you know, I want to go hang out and mingle and figure out what's going on. So I put $50 on my corporate card, and it was no longer than like 5 minutes. I get a call from this is from, you know, our CFO.
Yeah.
He's why the hell are you, you know, donating money to the Clinton administration? I mean, it's like, holy shit, bro. It was, you know, so I can go do that thing. Weird.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
I thought he was going to quit right there.
Give him an aneurysm.
Yeah, chill out,
awesome.
man. It's all good.
All right, so so I think we start basically selling off. We start selling off first name.deadbot.me.
Mhm.
So,
tied into that scary one that you found.
well, I'm just saying that data set would be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So since we're talking about time, and this isn't a security thing, but it is a thing that has to do with time.
Yeah.
Timeshares. Why?
Ooh,
Why?
because
I mean,
because it's the I want to be careful. So my father used to enjoy tormenting the timeshare people and making them sit in he was a real no.
do you go for the free VCRs? Because I knew a guy that had like a dozen plus VCRs that he didn't need because he kept getting them for sitting through sessions of timeshare offers.
Totally. Oh, shit! My daughter made me do it. She's watching this. My daughter, we went through the Disney one, and there was arguably there was some level of logic to the Disney timeshare because she enjoyed going. She's getting older. I mean, we were just planning out a freaking 18, and she was like, on 20. Oh my God, awesome thing. Sorry, squirrel moment for a second. My daughter comes up to me and she's like, we need to go to Epcot for my 21st. I'm like, why? I'm like, because she wants to go around the world. She wants to do the round the world, drink at every single country in Epcot. I'm like,
oh, nice.
God, I love you. I'm like, hell yes. So to that point, the Disney one seemed to be some way of logic in it because it was like, okay, we get a certain amount of points, you do a certain amount of things, we're going to go to Disney. But then I sat down and the logical brain cut in and said, well, what happens if we don't want to go 1 year? Well, you can sell them or do it. I'm like, okay, and who's going to do it? And so you work out the math, and this is a serious chunk of change. I mean, we're not talking a couple of grand, we're talking serious money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'd rather take that money, go put it in an account, and every single year take the interest. I'll go put it in a high invest account. Every single year, take that money out. We can go wherever we want, including to Disney. So, yeah, it's a tough one. If you think you're going to go, or you're going to go, or you want to inherit it, or all that kind of stuff.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. If a timeshare guy called me right now and offered me a free VCR, I would take him up on them. They're going up in price if you can find them.
Are you serious? No.
People chucked them, dude. They chucked them. I got my Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So they all hucked them, and now it's becoming a rare. It's not, by any means rare yet, but it's becoming a rarer technology to get your hands on.
Please tell me Betamax is making a comeback.
The who? Betamax? Betamax was the most badass thing ever. Do you know why VHS won out over Betamax?
Fucking bastard. But we had Betamax. We had Betamax we had Betamax.
Do you know the story behind why VHS is the dominant platform and Betamax is not?
No.
Because Betamax was the superior quality.
Totally.
Because Sony would not license to the adult film industry. And everybody wanted their at-home porno videos, and therefore VHS became the dominant platform.
You know what I think of when Chris says Betamax? I think like beating a guy named Max. He's like Betamax. I'm like,
bloody colonials and you damn standing and spelling and roundabouts and alu bloody minion and
I have the 1986 World Series on VHS. I actually was at that game as a young man. My dad had gotten some tickets from a friend of his.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got to go. I was at Game 2, 86 World Series here in Minnesota. The whole Homer Hanky and all that shit. And I've got the VHS. I got a bunch of crap somebody gave me and these old VHS tapes. And so I was like, oh yeah, I don't got one of those anymore.
I have Chip just said about Laserdisc. I got Star Wars and I think Blade Runner.
Nice.
Oh yeah. I love that movie. That was a good movie.
I got that. I've got both of those on laser.
Well, there came a time, like the older I get, so you talk about time, you talk about perspectives on time, and so much of it, I think, is perspectives on time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just time, it's perspective on reality, right? I see my thing, I have my perspectives. We talked about disinformation before, how, if you could keep getting fed disinformation and then, or a set of information, and we reinforce your bias, you begin to believe that there's a different reality from the one I'm believing in. Right. And I think the same thing sort of happens with time. You mentioned the meeting, you're like bored as hell, like get this shit over. Chris is like, yeah, I'm having a great time. Oh, damn, it's over already. you know, and because I've noticed another thing about time with my perspective, as I get older, time goes faster too.
Yeah, 100% true from my perspective as well.
Yeah. And so now I've really put so much more value in time than I did when I was younger. I thought time was all the time in the world when I was younger.
Yeah.
Now it's like my shit is like really valuable. So I'd stopped buying stuff. I used to buy stuff too when I was younger. And I started instead buying memories.
Ooh,
You know?
So all right, do not disagree. Do
Yeah.
not disagree. But and here's my I'm gonna play slight devil's advocate on this one. I'm very fortunate. When I was younger, we moved every couple of years, and it was around the world. I was born in Cyprus, for crying out loud, and we moved all around the world. Before I went in the military, did a bunch of traveling with work and stuff, and then when I went in the military, obviously got thrown out of airplanes all over the fucking world. When I came back out again, because of who I worked for, I got to travel a hell of a lot. I'm fortunate that I've gotten a lot of those memories. I'm not saying I don't have all of them, but I have a lot of them. Now, I'm slightly different. My daughter actually today called me a dragon. She's like, in a very loving way, and actually not in a bad way. And she's right. I will not get, I'll explain why. I hoard, and I'm actually kind of bad at it. I got a collection of fucking gemstones that I've had since I used to go climbing down in Colombia and Bolivia and other places and did some interesting trading. So I've still got some of those gemstones left. I have the whiskeys. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I had almost 1,000 bottles of this stupid thing before I had to get rid of a bunch of them for the lawyer fees. But I still have several hundred. I have a watch collection, crying out loud, you know, and I add to it, you know, and to me, I get a lot of pleasure, not out of the possession itself. The whiskeys, I get a pleasure out of sharing, because I mean, it's just so cool to sit down with people and just share, hang out, listen, talk, and everything else. But maybe that's that part of the experience. Watches for me are a very personal thing.
Well, it's, you know, that's the beauty though about people too. I mean, I embrace that shit.
Yeah.
People are different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so there's no one way to do it. There's no one way to do anything, you know? And so, well, as I grew up, because I used to buy shit all the time, I'd have hordes of shit, and then I'd open the door. I didn't value it. You value your shit.
Yeah, because for me it's, and I think maybe that's where you hit it. It's the experience. You're right. Your experience. I mean, you were chastising in a very positive way, chastising Ryan and I, because like, get your ass out of here and go and actually take a break, take a holiday. And I'm like, you're right. You lead by that example, which I love, because you're like, my ass is going here. And I love it because you're getting that experience.
Well, he will this week or next week. He will lead by example next week. Don't let him fool you. I'm a hold Evan accountable. Don't let him fool you. This man went to Mexico and didn't even go to the waters.
Oh,
laptops. Or did you go? Did you? You went to the beach, right?
I saw it.
Yeah. So thank you. Case in point.
Yeah.
Put your damn laptop down. I'm with Marlis. You go on bike week. You don't take your laptop with you.
Right. No, exactly. But yeah, man, it's because well, and even working down there, you know, you still made memories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
I'll go to work for Mexico.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I had somebody come up to me today. So today was the first day I had gone into the office in like 2 months, because everybody was like, hey, you coming into the office again, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, not really. The last time they got me to come in, they actually lured me in with barbecue.
It's a good lure.
So they have barbecue, and I'm like, all right, I'll be in there.
That's awesome.
But this time it was a guilt trip. Renee, our chief operating officer, she's, you know, stressing because, you know, face to face means so much and all that. I'm like, all right, I'll come in on Thursday. So I come in this morning, and everybody's like, hey, you know, you become like a legend when you're gone for a while.
Yeah.
You know, they think I'm like so much more like than I really am. I'm just, you know, whatever, just the dude that doesn't shave and shit, you know. And but one of the guys, Darren, said to me, he goes, so how was Mexico? You know, I love going to Mexico. I'm like, man, I loved it. It was cool. And he's like, we should open an office down there. And I go, you want to? I can make these things happen. Yeah. I'm like the boss.
I wouldn't say no to working out of the out of the Mexico office.
I can do this. So what do we have to do? We have to figure out a strategy. We have to figure out how we can make at least break even. I don't want to lose money in Mexico.
Right.
Mhm.
So what, Puerto Vallarta, and I suppose we're gonna have to learn Spanish. So I'd have to justify putting you down there. You know what I mean? So start learning Spanish now. And when I feel like you're fluent enough,
Okay. I like this.
business case for Ryan to lead that
So
off.
funny that you bring that up. Me and the wife are actually working on learning Spanish. We got Post-it notes up all over the house.
Oh, that's awesome. With the names of whatever you're looking at, another thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
totally.
And I keep cracking jokes that the oven's, randy and ready to go because it's Horno.
Horno. Yep.
And so this dude, Chris, he's never been to Mexico before. So I said, I'm taking you to Mexico.
He did
Next
say
year.
that.
Next
Nice.
year, I'm taking him and his wife. Plus, this son of a bitch doesn't know how to do vacations. You heard about the last two of them, right?
Not heard.
He
I
was part of one
experienced-
of
I
them.
experienced one of them. Believe me, that was not a vacation. Although, I mean, I did the same thing. I gave him the car, and I'm like, "Fuck up into the hills, disappear." I don't want,
He did.
go.
It's like, bye.
And I think we got the car, and we even got the bloody the sauna thing, whatever the hell it was. Like, you're booked.
Oh,
No
the hot springs.
The
Yeah.
hot springs. I'm like, you're booked. Get out of here.
I did. Because he goes, love Chris. So I get there, and obviously we're frazzled from the trip. So we get there or whatever. We kind of settled a little bit. We're sitting on the couch, and he asks his daughter, because she's very knowledgeable about the hot springs, hey, what's a really good one for them to go to? And before I can blink, not only has he pulled it up on the website, so I'm like, what's the address again? I'm futzing with my phone. And before I can blink, he's already booked the tickets for me. So again, thank you, sir. You're
Oh,
gracious.
We would do it.
Both
for
of
each
you
other.
guys.
We
I'm
do it
blessed.
for each
I'm
other.
blessed to have you guys as friends, honestly.
It's-
And vice versa,
needed
man.
it.
I feel the same way about you two.
Yeah, same thing. It's the same thing.
It's good
Yeah,
shit.
you guys can open Mexico up. I will. I would actually go further south, but that's just I'd either go down to Bolivia or out to Chile. But I'm not sure we can get a good business case. I mean, there's some good work down there.
All right.
But,
South America is struggling with their cybersecurity. Let's be honest.
big
Hello, right?
But they got some amazing people. They have. I mean, here's where it gets frustrating. We all probably know this. I mean, there's some absolutely amazing people. There are like some really fucking amazing people down there. That it would be really cool. I've done a couple of conferences. I did 8x8 down there, I've done B-sides and a few other things down there. I would love. I mean, it'd be just so freaking awesome just to hang out down there and go, hey, let's see if we can get your shit in order.
Well,
Are you
when
allowed?
the
Are you
world-
allowed to go to? Are you allowed to go to Honduras?
I think so. I'd have to double check with some people.
What about the Dominican Republic?
No.
No, that's a no. We don't like that. Okay.
Although, I hate to say it. If I'm going to be working for an Israeli company, it's going to be interesting to see how my accesses maybe change over the next couple of months or whatever.
What's this question? So folks caught up in the smartphone attention economy are frivolously
What?
going bankrupt on the time left on the planet. Oh yeah, I
What are
agree.
you on about?
Oh, 100%.
What am I missing?
Oh, Joe's
Oh.
comment. Agreed.
Folks caught up in the smartphone attention economy are frivolously going bankrupt. Oh, yeah. Then that's probably an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. Belize? Can you go to Belize?
I can go to Belize, but the last time I was in Belize, they sent me into the jungle, and I came out of the jungle after less than a day, and we were meant to be in there for a week, and we threatened to shoot the base commander if he tried sending us back into the fucking jungle. And we had the weapons.
All right, so stay away from the base commander.
Yeah, number one. And let's see, we went swimming. They basically didn't want us on the base for the next 6 days. They basically said, go fucking disappear. So we went out to one of the islands and went swimming, which was amazing, until we realized there were sharks in the fucking water as well. And remember,
I got a story for that too.
Yeah.
we trained in the North Atlantic and in the English Channel, and there's nothing there apart from, well, there's the occasional orca you got to be careful for, but that's about it.
Dude, I got a story about sharks too. So I was down in Daytona. Last time I was down in Daytona, I was me and my buddy, we're out body surfing, right? We're body surfing, having a great time. And I see these things swimming with me, and they look like dolphins to me. So I'm like, oh, this is so cool. We're swimming with dolphins. And my buddy's like, yeah, that's badass, man. See if we can go touch one. I'm like, I can't. They're fast as hell, And so we're doing all this stuff, and then we get out, and I can't wait to get upstairs and tell my wife, right? So I get upstairs and tell my wife, and we have this condo that's like facing the ocean.
Yeah.
And so I bring her out on the deck and go, look at that shit. We were swimming with dolphins out there. They're all like all over the place. And she's like, I don't think those are dolphins. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck?
Oh, no.
They were sharks, man.
Oh, shit.
We were swimming with sharks. And then I did some research, and like from that beach down to like Boynton Beach or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like the most shark bites every year happen in that stretch. But they're smaller sharks. They don't kill you. They
Right.
just
Take a chunk out of you.
So-
Yeah.
I love nibble.
So I paid money to have the experience you accidentally had. So I
Swim with
booked,
sharks?
I paid cash money to swim with sharks without a cage. I hired this guy in Key West to take us out, and it was super shady.
You're
And they chummed the
mad.
water, right? Just check
You're
it.
mad.
I'm maybe a smidge.
You're
So-
mad.
There's a video. Thank God it's not on the internet, but there is a video of me. So everybody else on the boat seasick. I'll tell you guys a long story some other time. But everybody on the boat seasick. I'm like, I paid my money. This is happening. And so I get in the water, and I got my snorkel on, and I'm swimming away doing my thing. And like I said, the guy had like put a chum basket in there, to guarantee to like draw some in. And I'm Johnny Badass out there like, yeah, I'm swimming with the sharks. And all of a sudden this thing shows up underneath me that is just massive, right? And you can see in the video where I go from Johnny Badass to like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Oh my God.
It apparently was not, I wasn't swimming with like great whites or anything crazy. I guess it was I don't know, what a Nerf shark or some shit. I don't know. It was wasn't gonna hurt, he kept assuring me it wasn't gonna hurt me. But I'll tell you, there was something about, I knew the sharks were there. I'm floating. I'm like, yeah, this will be so cool. And then when that reality hit, that moment in time, when that thing bigger than me was maybe 40 feet down.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like big things in the water, man. Did you know?
I want to swim with dolphins and
Did
whales.
you know I was like a really good swimmer.
Yeah, I've done
once.
whales and dolphins,
Yeah.
And so I like swimming, man, but not with sharks. Fuck.
I paid money for it, dude.
You're mad. You're absolutely mad. I mean, I
here it
love
is.
you, but
It was fun.
no.
Yeah. I got a hell of a story out of that trip.
You think fun is dolphins. I've been fortunate. I've done the dolphin thing and the whale thing. We were down in Gibraltar. We were en route to somewhere, leave it at that. And we had, I think, 48 hours leave. And so we went out on one of the boats, and you can lean right over. The dolphins are obviously in the wake of the boats, and they're up at the front and everything else. It was actually amazing just to watch and listen and learn. And then we were elsewhere, and they had whales. And so we had all of our tactical gear with us because we were doing some other stuff elsewhere. And a bunch of us just got in. We actually sat down. Before we got in, we talked to the God, it wasn't the Royal Society of whoever it was that was looking after whales. And they're like, yeah, do this, don't do this, don't do this, do this. We got the list. And so we went out and we just hung out. It was just ridiculous, just absolutely amazing. I mean, just magnificent.
So in a former life, I was a photographer, and one of my fellow photographers had gotten a gig a few years in a row to go with Discovery to South Africa and do the Shark Week stuff.
Oh.
And he was like, dude, like, that's insanity. He's like, I was in the cage and the cage wasn't enough. I needed more cage. Like, he's like, I knew the shark couldn't get to me, because basically because it's so active, the cages that they're in are very tight barred, and then they have like a plexiglass box that they can put the camera in so they can get the good shots.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I almost shit my wetsuit. Like, I was like,
I mean, because that fails, you're done. I mean, it's
well, and it's the breeding ground, so they're very active and very aggressive,
yeah,
which makes for good TV, obviously, right? But
yeah, So Belize is an interesting one. I have an extremely good friend, another .mil guy, just freaking awesome guy. He came into this industry 10 years ago or so now, give or take a bit. He does some amazing work. He's out doing his own thing, runs Digital Silence, Justin Whitehead and a bunch of the crew. They go down to Belize. I want to say it's like every year. He would be able to correct it. Go down like every year, and they're doing some stuff with like schools down there and a bunch of other things. And they're planning at some point just heading down there and staying down there, opening offices. But to give him credit and his significant other and a couple of other folks he was with, they've gone down there a bunch of times to help out. It's actually really cool to see. There's a huge amount of kudos to him for doing that.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So Belize is an interesting one. I'd be cautious to go there, but yeah, I'd want to. Bolivia, Chile, because just the people I remember meeting, and the affinity for the people I have is amazing. In Bolivia, just because it's like Colorado, it's landlocked with mountains, and so I'm not going to get eaten by a fucking shark or attacked by anything stupid that we have up here. I'm just going to die on a mountain, and I got my shit together on those, so I'm in good shape.
I don't know, man. Some of those monkeys are pretty badass.
We should go, when we get a chance, we should go to Malaysia. And there's a temple just outside of Kuala Lumpur where the monkeys will steal from you. So you have to like keep a tight, like they steal purses, they steal water bottles out of your hand.
Look up the Gibraltar. So the Gibraltar Rock, we, again, in this 48-hour literally pass that we had, look up the monkeys of Gibraltar Rock, because we actually took one of the Land Rovers up to the top of the rock. And we got warned, same thing, you got warned. The monkeys pickpocket the whole lot. But yeah, look up the Gibraltar monkeys. Ran into that over there. Very interesting. Yeah, we got warned.
Yeah, it's the macaques.
Yeah,
okay,
so similar
nasty
kind of
little monkeys.
Yeah. Actually, you talk about Malaysia. I would love to go see a lot of the ruins over in that neck of the woods.
Dude. So there was, I'll find this temple I went to. It's a cave inside of a collapsed volcano that has grown a rainforest inside of it. It is the most mind-blowing Hindu temple. It is so flipping. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. Batu Caves.
Okay.
So the Batu Caves in Malaysia, and they have this crazy statue that is like, I don't know, a couple 100 feet tall. It's ridiculous. It's.
Oh yeah. Let's see if it's the one. Oh yeah. Okay, I do know. I know.
Yeah. So I've been there, and I can assure you, it is flipping amazing. It is magical. It is just, there's something about being in that cave and seeing all the growth and the water's dripping in, and it's just.
So that's an interesting one. Again, you go back to time. So that's really interesting. Again, there have been a couple of times for me, I think in this country, and like recently, out of the lake house. So Jen's family's got a couple of places out in New Hampshire, and one of them's the lake house. And sitting on the dock or even going diving there, that sense of time, time having way less meaning. When you get out there, we are driven. We are every day, my schedule, yours, all of us, probably almost all of us here, probably, we are driven by 15 or 30-minute segments. Our day is dictated by a 30-minute chunk. And somewhere in there, you get a chance to get another cup of tea or coffee. You get a chance to eat, maybe. You get a chance to go to the bathroom between meetings or even in meetings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Our days are driven that way. Going out there, you get a chance to take a step back and you sit on the dock. And for the first like 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days, I'm tense as all hell because I'm expecting to have to do something different, or I feel like I have to do something different, or I'm going to. But then after like several days, you suddenly go, and I don't feel like I have to. And it takes that 3 or 4 days to get down at least.
Yes and no. Okay. So for me, this last trip, albeit as adventurous as it was, it was because I disconnected from the calendar. I separated from that whole concept of having that
the
as
whole
something
concept of
free.
time. Exactly.
I tried to. I really did as much as I could, because the whole point when we left, I said one of the most important things for me on this trip is to have no obligations, nothing. There's no fixed time to get up, no fixed time to go to bed. I barely wanted the massage appointment because it was a time, it was a fixed obligation. But I really wanted the massage. So, you know, you got to sacrifice in life. But that was an important part of the disconnect, was not being constrained by a schedule. We're going to eat when we're hungry. We're going to get up when we're done being tired. We're going to go to bed when we get
not
sleepy.
have to
We're
leave
going
at 12 and have to do this. And
How long have we been on the beach? I have no effing idea.
I don't know, and I don't care. Yeah.
You know,
So here's an interest. So take this one. I don't think I've seen. Do you wear a watch?
I have many of them. I don't. Since COVID, I haven't worn them as much. I usually wear them as with my suits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And since I haven't been wearing suits, I'm wearing Mario t-shirts these days. It's I miss them. I like them. I don't have a nice watch collection because I've never allowed myself to spend money on that.
Right.
But I have one badass cheap knockoff, dollar wash from Wish collection.
Got it. So here's where again, perception to you, the same. I like that one because same thing with my calendar. My calendar is that recognition of time. It's a digital recognition of time that I hate because I am a slave to it. Let's be perfectly honest. I can adjust it. I do have that option. And it's the same thing with my phone. I put my phone away, like between 6 and 9 at night. I don't want to be attached to the damn thing. Saturdays, it can off as for all I care. But this, another association of time, I don't have resentment for. I enjoy it. I love it. It's a really.
Do you know why?
Because it's not demanding anything of me.
No, it's analog.
Oh, I had an Apple Watch. My daughter has it. She doesn't wear it anymore. And I wonder if, interesting.
It doesn't hit that converter. The converter causes strife and stress.
Oh, interesting.
Digital is burdensome to your brain. You're one layer removed from reality. So you're constantly in imagination land when you're looking at a screen because you are one layer. The monitor is real, but in the screen is a layer away from you. So I love these kinds of watches. I love my mechanical watches. I have a couple of digital watches. But you don't love them as much as the ones with all the gears and springs and jewels and inner workings that you can see.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of the collectible, like the really crazy limited release G-Shocks and a few other ones, like the really stupid ones. And I've worn them a couple of times, but I'll go back to a couple of my mechanical ones, even if my quartz. So I still love my quartz one. I mean, the Grand Seiko one that I put up as a spring drive, so quasi quartz, quasi automatic. I've got I've got a couple of amazing quartz ones that I still love, and I think
those are still analog.
Well, I think that's where it comes into. Yeah, that's a really, really interesting way of looking at it. I hadn't thought about it that way before.
I refuse to get a smartwatch because I don't need more of that. Right?
I had mine and it pissed me off very quickly because it kept demanding time from me when it demanded my attention. My watch, I can look at it if I want to or I can ignore it. But those damn smartwatches, one, is tracking and monitoring me. Secondly, it's demanding of me. Thirdly, it's judging me. Mm-hmm. And fourthly, the stupid fucking thing goes off every 10 seconds because I get an email, text, or some other stupid shit, and I try and turn it off, and I forget I've got 1 second. I'm like, fuck.
And that's part of the disconnect. And I'm adopting actually some of your strategy on the phone down stuff. I've been doing this for the last handful of months where I'll leave the house and the phone won't come with.
Yep.
I don't need the phone at the store.
Yep.
Whatever it is can wait a half an hour.
It's amazing to try and take that back. I get pissed. I mean, Gabrielle has been on the sharp end of a couple of when he's like tried bothering me during that time, and he's gotten the brunt of it because I'm like, this is my time. I've explained this to you. Stop violating it. And I haven't used it with him yet, but I mean, to me, I'd be like, okay, you really going to go to a rabbi on Sabbath and tell them they need to do something? They have to do something against them? No? Then why the fuck do you think I'm any different?
Yeah.
You will respect my time away because it is my time, friends, whatever it might be.
You guys want to see Wales?
Yeah, no, it depends. Wales, or Wales, England, Wales, the soggy part of England.
No, this is from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you finally did do something. Good.
Oh, no.
I
Oh
like
my
it.
God. Are we going to get a fluke? Did it fluke?
No, it didn't.
Oh, still beautiful though. Do you know what it's a whale. That's all I really care about. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a sperm whale.
Got it. Oh, beautiful.
That's nice.
Oh, that's totally
So
cool.
yeah, see, I did something, man.
You
All right,
did.
good,
You
good.
did. That's
Now,
awesome.
now I feel a little better.
Yeah,
All right, I need to go get some more water. I'll be back in a second, guys. I need liquid.
liquid.
I like it.
Yeah, man. We did
That
something.
that whale looks about as wet as me and the wife were after our massage. I've never had so much
Do I
oil
want-
used in my life.
Okay, do I want to hear this?
I don't know. I told you. I said that the place was and we paid a stupid amount of money, and it ended up being shady to the point that she legit turned to me and whispered, "I think we're about to star in an adult film." Like it was that kind of shady. And
Well,
we
it's-
paid $400 for massages.
But it's you and your wife.
It was me and her, and there was
All right,
no
but
funny
don't film
business.
fine, but don't film it.
Oh, it had that vibe though, Evan. It had that creepy vibe to it where it was like, something ain't right about this.
No.
I won't mention the place's name, but if you're deciding to go to South Beach, maybe hit me up in advance. I'll tell you what spa to avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Chris, before you had left, you had said effectively that there's a need to have to respect the barriers around time. And that triggered a thought, which is, I think we all need to do a little bit better job of saying no when it comes to people wanting to take that precious commodity from us.
Yes.
No, I don't have time for that right now. Yesterday's a good example. I was balancing very delicately my professional and personal life, all in a single moment.
Yeah.
I had had a very busy day of work, and then I had friends that I still wanted to talk to, and I had friends I wanted to help, and I had grocery shopping that needed to get done, and I had chores and I had all these, and I'm that kind of friend where if you've tried to get a hold of me a couple times and we haven't had a chance to connect, you're on my heart. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make time. I'm going to drop something. If it's the third call, fourth call I've gotten from you or something like that, and we haven't had a chance to talk, I'm going to try to make that time available. And so I was doing that. So literally on the phone as I'm getting ready to leave, I'm on the phone in the car, I'm on the phone in the store.
Yep.
And then at one point, my lovely wife turned around and gave me a look that goes, I'd probably hang that up right about now if I were you. And so I knew, and so I did. And thankfully I've got good friends that are always, gracious of that and say, hey, make sure to tell her, thank you for letting me cut into her time and da.
Yeah.
But I'm usually pretty good at respecting that boundary and being comfortable saying no. But I've observed there are many others who aren't, and I'll pick on you two as prime examples. If you think you can help, no matter the personal expense, you generally tend to say yes to it.
Yeah.
And I have to fight the natural urge because just like you guys, it's in me.
Yeah.
But I used to say yes to my time too much to the point that it cost me. It cost me health. It cost me relationship quality. And so I paid a toll. I know, I could get my wife right now and she'd go, Ryan does too many things for too many other people.
Yeah.
He's spending his time everywhere but on himself or here. Right. And I know Evan hears very similar things. And so I guess my takeaway to everybody is it's okay to say no sometimes when somebody's asking for your time. It's okay to make them justify. And a good example I'll use is we're all very comfortable telling that sales email to go fuck itself. You want time on my calendar and I don't know you? Get out of here. But when it comes to people in our circle, when it comes to, we want to help. All of us want to help. I know for a fact that each one of us, at least weekly, devotes 5 or more hours to interacting with juniors and people that have questions in this industry and
a lot more than that, man.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's after our tasks for the day. That's after the work, and I don't want to stop that. but also I think it's important that we respect our own time, because before we know it, we've spent time we didn't mean to, or we spent it in a place that didn't truly benefit us the way had we spent it somewhere else or on someone else.
So, you know what Jen's done, and we actually, ironically enough, we had a conversation about this today. Typically, so she runs a lot of the calendar for me, just because there are so many balls in the air, no two ways about it. And also, starting the new job next week, I have to be very respectful. I'm getting paid, I'm getting very well paid. I owe them time.
Mm-hmm.
But what Jen said is, she's like, look, because it's the same way. I mean, we're all in the same boat. I'm looking at LinkedIn at the moment. So it's like, hey, can I do this? And can I do this? And can I do this? What she's now doing is, rather than blocking an hour of time, she's going to take half an hour. She's like, I'm only going to give people half an hour time.
Good for you.
And she's like, I'm also going to tell them to come with an agenda. She's like, we don't need to see it up ahead, but she's like, she's going to counsel them and coach them to go, look, we're not doing an hour. You get half an hour, and we're not trying to be nice about it. So John just said, hey, can we set up a Zoom meeting he said half an hour, to his credit. Thank you. Somebody actually said half an hour. But a lot of people are like, hey, can I grab an hour of your time? And I'm getting better at saying, look, I can do half an hour. And Jen's actually counseling me, and she's going to talk to the people and say, look, it's half an hour. And we're not trying to be an ass, we're not trying to be elitist. It's like, look, to all of our times, one, I have to dedicate more. Secondly, I'm still doing a bunch of stuff with HHS and all the folks. But thirdly, I still want to help, but there's a limited amount. Let's see what we can squash in 30 minutes. Let's not spend 15 minutes bullshitting and 10 minutes of, hey, this is where I met you. Let's spend 30 quality minutes of just getting shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I do like, I've kind of learned that on my calendar, it's, I block off every week a whole bunch of focus time, which is like, I'm just going to be doing shit. I don't know what I'll be doing, but I know I don't want any meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
I might be creating something. I might be writing something. I don't know what the fuck I'll do, but I'm not my time. And then in all my emails, there's a schedule link, right? And I give my schedule link out freely. Those are times like, if you want a meeting, go ahead and set one up. And so I get meetings all the time with like people I've never met before, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Because, if it's a salesperson, then, you get a DDoS attack, but it's worked out really nice, because I met all kinds of, like Vicky set up a meeting with me, I think earlier this week. Never met her before. Yeah, what a sweetheart.
I have so much love for her.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
right.
But you're right.
It's been really cool.
The Calendly thing is interesting. I've thought about doing that a couple of times, but I got to be honest, from me, Jen's great. I mean, she's just been absolutely fantastic at helping out in here. And she said, look, I'll do it, because she wants to do that. But the other reason I want to do it that way is for two reasons. It's actually an interesting catch bucket, because I got invited to talk at a conference. Apparently a very prestigious one, all this kind of shit. Meant to be. Interesting conversation there one day. And he came to me and I'm like, yeah, do me a favor, hit Jen up, please. She'll have questions for you. And we actually have a speaker request form. I think we've talked about this in the past, or it's up on the website. I got a speaker request form. And for me, it does two things. One, I want to see what the people want to talk about, how much commitment, because, hey, I want to come talk turns into 3 demos, 4 sessions, a couple of this, and 25 fucking emails that I just can't deal with it.
I'm glad you bring that up. What is with the time suck in virtual events? For fuck's sake, I gave you the hour on stage. Now you want 5 days of time, prep time, 44 emails.
That's why, seriously, go to the damn website, grab the fucking form, or I'll hit Jen up and I'll send it to you. I've got it. I know she's got the latest one. I make people fill that out, and I'm not being an arse, and I'm trying to be an elitist. I'm like, again, it's time. I want to know up front how much of me I'm going to have to commit, because I've got to make sure I can schedule it properly. Well, this one conference was like, their attitude was literally, we're too elite to do that, and I could get people. I'm like, then please do. Please do. I take no exception to that. I understand your position, but that's not how I work. I do it because then I can respectfully dedicate the time or not. Otherwise, we're in a basically a hostile relationship, because you keep asking for more from me, and I can't always give it.
Right.
I turn down almost every speaking engagement. There are people who are, I mean, I just got other things I'd rather be doing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I just, like, I take ones that I think are like friends.
Yeah.
You know, if a friend, yeah, I'd love to be there because I love hanging out with friends and I love talking shit with friends. But, you know, I think Marla, my wife actually is my
Yeah.
admin, believe it
Yeah.
or not. So she gatekeeps everything. She'll run it by me. Do you want to, you know, speak at this thing? And I'm like, no.
Right.
Or I get one on LinkedIn and you know, like this one guy, just like today, I'd like you to keynote this blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want me to keynote?
Right. No, I get
You
it.
know?
And actually, this one was interesting because they're like, we'd love you to attend. I'm like, guys, I just, good luck. It ain't gonna happen. Or can you come and talk? Well, and then the other was like, okay, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
The event thing is an interesting one because I'm not good enough at saying no there.
Mm.
But for me, it's an interesting balance. Perfect example. I gave a talk yesterday. I did the interface one, which they're using in a couple of places, thankfully. I gave a talk at like the Northeast Library Association or something like that. It was New England Library. So freaking awesome. It had an absolute riot. Again, not our typical world. Hanging out with a bunch of librarians, which was a ton of fucking fun. Some great questions that we would normally not see. So I will pick and choose. I'm like you on that one. I'll pick and choose. I do the interface ones because Joe is just an amazing good friend. And it's a business thing, to be perfectly honest as well. I can go out, I can talk. We get business referrals in for it.
Now you should start presenting to schools. You would love it because all you're doing there is educating. You're just literally helping them.
Well,
Hey,
and
and
truly, man, I've sat in a number of your talks. I've sat in a number of your talks. It's a gift for you. I love your talks.
I have fun doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Where me, it's like, it's work. I don't really want to talk. You know,
And I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Ryan, you and I ought to, if you've got the school stuff, if there's anything I can ever do there, just hit, you know the deal, just say, hey, can you make this? Actually, hit Jen and I up, definitely.
Yeah. No, I heard you. I understood.
I love the
Yeah.
that would be a ton of fun because I've done some school stuff. Spaff over at Purdue, every now and again, I get a note from him saying, hey, can I come hang out and have some fun with the students? I'm like, oh.
Well, what I will be hitting you up for is I've got a few schools I'm working with that have cyber programs inside the high school for the kids. And nothing would be cooler for them than for the hairy one to show up. I'm serious, man. Yeah. We don't talk about it, but you know how you're looked at, especially by the juniors. And so that would just make their flipping day. So that's the kind of stuff I'm going to hit you up for.
Totally.
I'm going to hit you up for let's get these kids fired up about this. You know, that's the kind of stuff that and I know we share that thread. That's what gets me excited. Have I made a difference today? Did I help somebody be safer, smarter, or better?
Yeah.
You can count on it. I'm going to be calling for that stuff.
Totally.
So when you talk about productive time, when you talk about that, to me is you just hit the nail on the head. I'm here to make people's lives better. I mean, honestly, I get lots of shit. I don't need any more shit.
Yeah.
I don't need any more money. I don't need any more. I can only ride one Harley at a time. I can only drive one truck at a time. I don't need shit. What I get so much value on, and this came with age too, is helping people. So if I sleep so much better when I go through the day, I'm like, yeah, that was cool. I got to do this and I got to do that. And I don't want any credit for it either. I don't want people saying like, hey, no, because then I feel like it's for me rather than like a selfless thing. There was an email that came through on the mentor program. Did you see that one?
Which one? I've been managing the account, so I see many.
In the mentor
Is
program.
this the guy that just got that you gave him your registration number, right? That's the one you're talking about?
No, that was a different one. But it was a guy in the study group. But he said you should start calling mission before money selfless instead of selfish, or whatever. Selfish.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't see that one.
It was like this sweet ass email where and so you look at that and you're like, good, that dude's day I made today.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. I mean, I could go to sleep now if I wanted to, but maybe there's somebody else. I don't know. That's a good use of time, in my opinion. Yeah.
Chip saying
And
he needs
Chris-
a new Mustang with 6.
And you, Chris, you're awesome at it, man. I mean, just talking with you, the way you relate with people, and I mean, and same with you, Ryan. I mean, it's good to be selfless, right? That's kind of what it's going to take. A lot more of this in our industry if we're going to make a difference.
Well, and I say we just keep doing what we're doing, right? Lead by example. It's all we can do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one totally. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's at the
Chip
end
has
of
a
the
pony?
day.
Chip has a pony.
I love my pony. What freaking pony does he have? The fruit bat.
Who's got a pony?
He says
He
says I need a new Mustang. I love my 600 horsepower.
That kind of pony.
I got it. Sorry, Chris, I
ponies-
interrupted you, man. Sorry.
No, you're good. Most ponies with 600 horsepower can't put 600 horsepower on the ground. We'll just start with that one. Some can, most can't.
Right.
We just did the upgrades. We do all suspension upgrades on the Boss a couple of weeks ago. Got all those on, so it can actually get its power on the ground properly now. Finally.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, speaking of time, it's about that time.
Yeah, it is. Holy vey. Yeah, it has. Yeah, time did fly this evening, did not?
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
This was a
good one, man. Thank you, Chris. I think hell, there could even be a second follow-up to this one because there's just there's a lot here.
You know what? If we do it, I would definitely let me have a little bit of fun with it. I think if we do it, I want to go down the rabbit hole. Let's have some fun with rabbit holes.
I think do it.
We rabbit hole this one again. Well, let me noodle on this one. I'll put it on the spreadsheet. We'll do it.
You're on deck next week, right, Evan?
Yeah. And so when you do yours, Chris, I'll have to get a really good night's sleep so I can like mentally follow you where you're going.
Yeah, we're gonna have rabbit holes. We are actually, we'll have rabbit holes. There might be a little bit of homework for this one.
I like it.
I do too. And next week, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet or what I'm gonna pick as a topic, but it's kind of cool because next week we're actually leaving here at midnight. So I'll finish the shit show and then
you're gonna be okay doing it. You're gonna have time to do it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We're gonna have to keep an eye on the time.
No.
It'll be cool. We're gonna try to make it to Chattanooga, the first, night. So yeah, it'll be a fun trip, man. It'll be good. And then I'm gonna go visit Tim. Tim's like an hour and a half away from Daytona.
Yeah, he's down in that neck.
Nice.
I want pictures. Definitely want pictures with that man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll go see that dude. I like him. He's good people.
Yeah, big time. All right, guys. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, all those kind of good, crazy things. And everybody who hung out with us, we had fun. It was crazy busy. I kind of kept a half an eye on it. It was crazy busy. It was fun.
It was fun. And I love you guys. Take care of yourself. Be safe.
Yeah, everybody take care. Love you guys. Take care.
Love you guys. See ya. Bye.